Hi, this is Dave, and I'm with my brother Rich, and again we're working on this kitchen and trying to finish it up. And today this is what we're tackling. Basically, we were given cabinets that fit the general space. We had these cabinets measured prior to finishing out this area, but we knew there was going to be a gap on either side, and our cabinet company supplied us with these boards that match the cabinet that we can use as trim pieces. And basically we have to fill this gap and that gap and make it look like it's a built-in, which in essence it will be. But to do that, what we have to do is get boards this exact size, which is about 2 1/4 inches. And we do have a little bit of play because there's going to be yet another trim strip against this that will hide that gap, so it doesn't have to be exact. But for our purposes, we want to get close to 2 1/4 inches. And that will fill the gaps on both sides of these cabinets. To do that, we were given, and I'll show you outside, one piece of wood that's the length of the base or the upper, and then we are, it's our job to rip it. We elected to do the install ourselves, saved a bunch of money, but we have the tedium of making these things fit exactly. So off to the table saw, we'll show you what we're going to do and to get us with this, and then we'll show you how we install it. Okay, this is the piece of wood that we were given from the cabinet company. It's already stained to match the cabinets that we're installing. We got a table saw here. It's a little old, it's an antique, but it'll do the job. If you don't have a table saw, you could do this with a circular saw, but you have to get pretty close. The piece of molding that's going to go yet on top of this to hide the gap is only about 1/8 or 3/16 thick. So you can't be real careless with your circular saw. Table saw is much better if you have it. So basically what we've done is measured 2 1/4 from the blade to the fence here, and then basically I'm going to run this through, turn the big piece around and run it through, and I'll end up with two 36-inch pieces that are 2 1/4 inch wide, and we'll be ready to attach them. Okay, that's our first piece. Now we take this, spin it around. We're just going to cut off now the middle of the board. The board was about 6 inches wide, so this is going to end up being our scrap that we don't need. And we'll have two 2 1/4 inch pieces. All right. We're all done. We got our two pieces. We'll go and mount them. So we got our lower pieces here. I'm going to use this edge as the inside edge, so you have a real clean fit. And then the outside edge, this is just a dry fit, just to show you what we got. This piece is going to be on the end to take care of our gap. And so when it's all said and done, it's going to look really nice. Okay, so that's how you hide your cut edge. So on this board, I readjusted the fence while I was doing it, and so it left a ridge there that I want to get rid of. So I got a planer here, a power planer, and it'll do the trick real quick. And this is just it spins that super fast, and it'll just smooth this out. Okay, I want a fairly flush surface when I mount the other board to it. So this is just preparing it. All right, now you got a nice smooth edge, and that will certainly accept that the final trim piece a lot better that way. Okay, so the plan on this is I'm going to drill through the entire wall of this board to put a screw through this and into that board to hold it on there. And it'll be hidden by the drawer here, and it'll be behind the door here. So it'll be very inconspicuous. Okay, so once I put that screw in there, it's going to be more than halfway into that board, or halfway into that board. And so we'll get our impact driver, and we'll shoot this baby through. Boom. There you go. Okay, so as I've been putting these screws in, first I make sure that this is flush, then drill it, then screw it, and I had a clamp up here. If you don't have a clamp, and sometimes even when you do, it's a two-person job. So you worry about this being flush, get that one screwed in, then you move down, make sure that one's flush, move down, and here we are at the last one. I got a clamp down here. I'm still gonna feel behind here to make sure we have a flush fit as I drive this screw, and then we'll be good. There we go. So now it's just a matter of rinse and repeat for all the 4 sides, and we will have this trimmed out, looking like it's supposed to look. A good balance in the space in which it sits. This one's a little tighter fit than the last one, but I'd rather have that. There we go. So now you can look on the left side, you can see how that just fills this whole cabinet out real nicely. It makes it look solid. And on this side we have yet to go, but you can see, oh, and by the way, we already painted right here, trimmed out, we just did all the cutting in, but we trimmed this out so once we put the fill pieces in, the trim pieces in, and the molding, we don't have to worry about cutting in with it, it's already be painted. So just to save us a little bit of heartache later on. Okay, now for the last ones. Nice. Alright, we are finishing up our molding and trim on this cabinet. They put a little piece of trim here on the side. And so we got a little tape and a little glue. And that'll hold that till it's good and dry. And then we added this piece down here on the bottom. And now our last thing that we have to do is add our crown molding. And basically, I'll show you how it works. There's 2 pieces to it. And this came with our cabinetry. It's a piece of wood that has a groove in it. And it's nicely designed. Basically, it's going to go like this. And the cabinet's going to be coming straight down here. So this will be on top of the cabinet. And then this goes against it. And we have a brad nailer and we'll just nail into this. So I'll show you what it's going to look like and then we'll go ahead and nail it up. That'll be attached like so. And this piece. And this is a really tight fit, but I already tried it once and it works. We just got to get it in there. And that's it. When it's all said and done, that's how she's going to look. So now we're going to go ahead and bring it down and nail it up. Okay. Now, let's see if we can get this on. Okay, so I'll just hit that with the brad nailer, and we'd be done. Simple as that. More. Yep. And that's crown molding. Not very complicated. It's all about having the right tools. And the brad nailer makes all the difference in getting nice, clean little nails in there. Alright, so all that's left now to finish this one cabinet project and getting it all finished out is the toe kick. That's on the bottom. And basically, it's all nasty. You can see it's shimmed up there on that one side. And we're just going to get a toe kick, and there, that's it right there. It's very thin, and it's just going to go right down there on the bottom and be the final finishing touch. Okay, so the toe kick, I just got cut. It's just a thin piece of covering wood, Goes in there, nice and low, and we'll just hit it with a couple of brad nails. All right, so the last thing we have to do is mark this little trim piece. You can see right here, there's a gap. I can get my pencil in that little gap. No matter how tight, how well you cut it, you're going to have a little gap. That side was perfect on that side, but this side, that's what these pieces are made for. And you just put them on there, and we'll hit it out with the brad nailer, and they'll be all trimmed out. That's it. And it is fully trimmed out and ready for a countertop. Installing cabinets and putting on molding and trim is not that hard of work, provided you have the right tool. Indispensable tools for this were the brad nailer, of course. This is, it shoots just the smallest, thinnest little nails, but it's exactly what we needed. And then the other tool is this impact driver, and it allows you to get these screws. This is hardwood, and even though we drilled a hole, when you're mounting this piece of trim and you're mounting this, just make sure you can get it all the way through there without it slipping and all that. So the impact drivers are a real favorite tool for this. And one other thing, the perfect cuts up on the top there. We have a brand new chop saw that we bought because we knew we were going to be doing a lot of trim work. We used to have an old chop saw, and after the saw's age, the joints wiggle a little bit and you can't get a true line. Well, this new one gave us just perfect lines, and that makes the job look like you didn't do it yourself. All right, just to show you where we are molding wise, this was the first piece we did. These are just straight cuts. You lay the molding on its back like that and just cut. So long as you measure right, you're okay. This one and this one were progressively harder. You've got one outside corner and then straight cuts on both backs. Same as this one right here. You got a one corner, straight cut in the back, straight cut in the back. So those require a little bit more care. Now this one is our hardest one yet, and this has two corners on it. And I'll show you how we cut this. This one's already snapped into its mounting board, so it's good to go. And I got to trim this one up a little bit because it's just a shade too long. And then I'll show you how we cut the last one because there is a trick to it. And then the only harder one is one that we're going to do later on, and that's the far cabinets over there. And this one will have two outside corners, right here and one inside corner. And the inside corner, you need a coping saw where you just cut the edge. You follow the edge of this cut, and you're cutting out the back of it, and that will allow this piece to go over that piece. But we're not going to get to that one today. So we'll just show you how we're going to finish up this cabinet with the two outside corners. Let's go cut some wood. Okay, so this board was just a shade too long, so I'm just going to trim off the straight side, and that's pretty easy to do. Then to cut the other piece on the other side, I know they're about 12 inches long, and the trick to cutting this is we know the bottom mounting side is this one with the slot in it. So that side goes up. This is how it's actually going to be on the cabinet, but when you cut it upside down, this slot up. And if you don't have a slot, it's just straight molding. Your bottom side goes to the upper part of the race right here, and your top side goes on the bottom of the saw. And then if you look in here, this is how it's supposed to be positioned so that your flat sides that are going to be against wall and ceiling are flush on your saw. So that's flush there and that's flush there. Then you know you're going to get a good 45 cut. So we got to go ahead and measure off this one, and we will cut our missing piece. Okay, so I have my piece is 12 inches long. So I'm gonna, and here is the bottom of my molding. and that's going to be the measured side. So I go from here to 12 inches and make a tick mark. Okay, now that's where I want the cut to start, and when I put it up there, this side's flat and this side's in an angle. So I always do this to make sure I never forget that's how I want my angle to go. So I just draw a random line to show me this is the way the blade should go. But ultimately I'm going to cut right there, across this piece of wood and down to this 12-inch mark right there. So now, like I said before, this has to be, this is my bottom side. So when you cut it, it's bottom side up, flush against the saw on the back and the bottom. And then I want to go 45 degrees. And my saw blade here is following that mark I made, so I know I'm going in the right direction. I just got to make sure when I cut it, I cut right at that corner. So this is, and you can't make a board longer, but you can always make it shorter, so I always leave a little extra. Alright, let's go see how we did. Okay, so this is slider in on its bracket. And it looks like it's just a shade too long. And again, I'd rather be long and have to trim a little bit off than be sorry. So we'll go trim a little bit off. Okay, here we go. And that's money. So now it's just a matter of lining these up and hitting them with the brad nailer. Thank you. Alright, so that's our final finish of the two-corner crown molding. And all we have left now is paint on the walls and pulls on the cabinets, and we will have a completed kitchen. The next video that we're going to make will go along with this one, and that is how to do a skin. Basically, this is the rough side of cabinetry, and we built these out, and then we're going to add a skin on the back side of that and pretty it all up. We'll show you how we're going to do that in the next video. So hope this helps. Thanks a lot for viewing. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we'll have more videos coming your way. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.